Great. Ooh.
So we start up
excited.
with some nice clicking sounds from the Amiga for that authentic Amiga experience.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make
all over
sure.
again.
Yes. So so I can capture the intro here because I thought the intro was worth looking at. It doesn't count towards the 7 minutes.
Not endorsed in any way by the Royal British Legion. Yeah, there was actually a big controversy because this image was on the cover of Amiga Power magazine.
Yeah.
Which at the time was the best-selling Amiga games magazine in the UK. And yeah, people got very angry. The final release cover for the box game was terrible by comparison.
Yeah, it was.
Now, of course, it goes through the whole thing with the credits of the developers, sitting in the roles of, the actors like James Dean and whatnot. But I didn't. I just wanted to get right to the game. But you get a sense of what that is. If you've played a game from the multimedia era, there's a good chance that you saw something like this. But of course, this was streaming. That song was streaming from a diskette or floppy disk.
Well, it wasn't streaming. It was just a mod file.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Loaded into memory. So.
But loaded in from a 720K disk.
So this is right here on the intro screen, and the game basically begins when you click. So I was just waiting to make sure that you saw kind of the general idea of it. So you have the guys coming in, and they're going to join your squad down below.
So we start with Jules and Jobs.
Yes.
Jules and Jobs, which is Jules, Jameson, and John Hare. John Hare's nickname was Jobs. Jovial Jobs, actually.
Yeah, Sensible Software. I mean, if you were an Amiga user, there were a handful of teams that basically were like the providers of the top tiered games. Factor 5, Sensible Software, Bitmap Brothers.
Yeah.
Who else
I always
was
felt
out there?
that Bitmap Brothers were a bit style over substance for me, but Sensible was spot on.
Yeah, and then there's these missions all have punny names, which not particularly doing it for me. With British humor, sometimes you get Monty Python, and sometimes you get this. And of course, it says "kill all enemy" instead of "kill all enemies."
And you know that was on purpose. But yeah,
sure. It wasn't.
The missions do get more complex later on. Like you'll have missions where it's destroy buildings and stuff.
Yeah. But this game was pretty intuitive to figure out. I'm pretty sure that this was chosen mainly because it was just a mouse-controlled game. So you right-click to fire and you left-click to move, and that's the main actions that you need to do. And you just need to avoid getting shot.
I didn't get a mouse for my game.
Heroes and victories.
So it probably surprised you to learn that this game was released on the CD32 as well, and is really controllable with a controller with gamepad. Actually, it works really well.
I wouldn't be too surprised about that, especially in one of the later levels. It gets a little shaky in terms of how you control around really tight corners, and it's kind of deliberate. But I still think that. It suits itself to the mouse, and especially as someone who's played a lot of real-time strategies and top-down Diablo-like games. It's fairly intuitive. You can't hold down to move, but you just click to an area, and the squad will move.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, this got ported to almost everything. I mean, I believe there's Super Nintendo, Genesis, Atari Jaguar versions, and even a really, really well done Game Boy Color version of this.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Never tried it.
So
yeah, I played it a while ago. It's okay.
So as you'll see in here, I'm very conservative with the shooting because I wasn't sure if I had limited ammo or not. So I'm just poking around with my shots and trying not to fire too many. And the computer determines which of your guys shoots. So it's kind of hard to tell where your angle is going to come from towards the target.
Okay. So is there the option of friendly fire?
No.
No. No.
And of course, you're just supposed to be holding down that right button and just spreading fire everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the idea really is it doesn't matter who's shooting because it's really about the senselessness of just, you're stuck here and you're just trying to survive.
Okay.
Of course, I lost one of my
Rambling
guys there
through.
because I waded into the water, and you can't shoot while you're in the water.
At
The
least
tree has some dodgy hitbox going on.
That was co-founder John here. You just killed off there.
Apologize to the second Sensible Software. Oh yeah, I just did a tweet thread. There was a Sensible Software in 1982 that put out a game in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah. As far as I know, no relation, but I thought it was interesting. It's like, there's another company called Sensible Software.
Interesting.
So now we're upgrading our tasks, and we must destroy the enemy buildings. Though, as far as I could tell, there's only one building actually. So, not plural enemy and plural buildings.
Oh, another guy bites the dust.
Yeah.
So
So
they
in
all have
this-
just one hit point.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a bullet hell game at its heart. So in this part, they're starting to teach you this idea of how to very strategically navigate around difficult terrain, and I think it's a very well done intro to that sort of stuff. Which in Amiga games they don't tend to do tutorials particularly well.
No.
And I'm sure later in the game it starts getting to the point where it just becomes basically impossible to get past, as I've heard is a very frequent Amiga problem.
It does become very hard at the end. The enemies will become a lot better at actually hitting you, and they will be shooting bazooka shots at you that you need to dodge, and there will be lots of different vehicles you can use as well, and they can be really tough to control.
And as you can see here, I'm shooting a dead corpse because I don't know what that is. It's very difficult to tell at this sort of
Some anger
Let him
issues
go.
going on there, mate.
Oh, just wait until later on. There's going to be booby traps and stuff, and it's just
Ah.
a couple shades of slightly different pixels in the ground.
At least the mines you can
suddenly-
see. When the mines you can see, but with those little booby traps with the spears, the wooden spears that just stick out from the ground, they're really hard to spot.
Yeah.
So, and every level is basically you walking and shooting your way through, or can you use cars or
So there
other
are
vehicles?
There are cars, there are tanks, I think there's a helicopter later on as well.
Is helicopter in the first game or only in the sequel?
I feel like it should be here as well, but I forget, Carl.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
So
anymore.
here I'm trying to shoot the barrels because I have the instinct that barrels explode. But of course that didn't become very common until Doom. So it took me a while to figure out what exactly is meant to go on here. Because I did not at all understand the everything that was going on screen. It's all very low resolution, guys.
Oh,
But I
and
finally
here-
found that.
This is another thing that you don't discover necessarily on the first time you do this, but every time you blow up a building, the part of the roof flies off and it will land in a random location,
Yes.
and it can land on you and kill your guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yep,
another
that's,
reason
nasty.
why you split up the party, which you can do,
Yep.
and only send one guy forward to blow up the building, because if the other guy, if everybody dies in a TPK, that's problematic.
But for every
No, this-
mission that your guys go through, they rise in rank, and when they get a higher rank, they get a longer range with their shot, which is really, really important in the later levels. So I would be reloading whenever I lost Jules, Jobs, or Stu, because I really wanted those to be 3-star generals at the end.
Yeah. I mean, and then it's super accurate. It's like wherever your cursor is, that's exactly where the shot's going to land. At the
Yep.
beginning, it's always sort of
It's just a
in
spray.
the area, but it's not that close.
But so, I just made sure to show kind of what the wrap up is and everything of, you get new soldiers in for each new kind of stage and scenario. But that's the end of the 7 minutes in heaven.
So, a quick question before we end this. So, in the top of the screen, there's home 53 away. Is it like you killed 50 guys and you've lost 3? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
as if it was a sports game, home and away.
That's
And
horrible.
we see the three
Anti-war
Permanently
messaging,
away.
guys.
we see the three crosses on the hill. You play this for a few hours, those hills will be filled with all sorts of little tombstones and stuff.
Yeah, and depending on the rank of the soldier who dies, it's either just a tiny cross or a huge monument. So
Yeah. It's really cool. I mean, it's a really fun way of doing permadeath.
yeah,
Well,
Okay.
pretty dark humor.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
fun way
that's
and
commentary.
Wait until you hit the guys, and occasionally they won't actually die.
yes,
They'll just be laying there bleeding, and they'll be going like, ah, 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 and there's blood spurting out, and you can either shoot them again and put them out of their misery, or just leave them there.
yes,
Oh my god.
brilliant.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
All right.
good stuff. Okay.